Hey y'all, it's Heel Heat time.
Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. My name is George Coles and this is a WrestleMania 31 prediction show. WrestleMania, actually this year the 31 they've taken off. It's just WrestleMania with a play button logo. I know, it's silly. But we all know it as WrestleMania 31, so that's what I'm going to call it going forward. Now let's jump right into it with the pre-show matches. We have the tag team title match, the Usos versus Los Matadors versus Kofi and Big E representing New Day versus Kid and Cesaro. I'm going to go with Kid and Cesaro to retain here. If Jey Uso didn't have the shoulder, or Jimmy, whichever Uso, they're twins, I get them confused. Whichever one wasn't injured, they may win here. I think Kid and Cesaro win, especially with them just recently putting out a t-shirt for them. I think they're going to ride them for at least a few more months. Next up, the other pre-show match. This was recently demoted to the pre-show, rumored for time constraints. The Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Now, I have my opinions on that, and I won't go off on too much of a tirade, but you want to respect a guy like Andre the Giant, who's one of the all-time legends in the business, the first Hall of Famer, the guy you created the Hall of Fame for. You put his show on the pre-show, let alone fill it up with basically also-rans. Last year, at least, there was a decent talent pool in it. I digress. I'm going to go with my prediction. I'm predicting Sheamus to win it. And yes, I know he hasn't been announced for it, but I believe this is where he's going to make his return. If Sheamus does not, my backup would be Ryback. He seems like the obvious choice. But I want to say, I would say with 80% certainty, Sheamus wins here. Next up, going to the main show. Now, I don't know the order of the matches, other than I'm assuming that Lesnar vs. Reigns will be the last match of the night. So we're just going to go in the order I would guess. First up, we have Seth Rollins versus Randy Orton. I see Orton picking up the win here. No reason for him not to get his comeuppance. Next up, we have AJ Lee and Paige versus the Bella Twins. I see the Bellas picking up the win. Dissension in the ranks with AJ and Paige. Maybe we get some sort of three-way, four-way match at the next pay-per-view with the Bellas and these two over the title. But I think the Bellas are going to win here. You have to have some heels win, and this is one of the spots I think that the heels will pick up and win. Next up, we have the Intercontinental title ladder match. We have Dolph Ziggler, R-Truth, Dean Ambrose, Luke Harper, Stardust, Bad News Barrett, and Daniel Bryan all competing. This could be another place where Sheamus returns. I don't think he does, though. I think they want to give this one to Daniel Bryan. It serves two purposes. A, it helps to elevate the importance of the title, the Intercontinental title. And B, it gives Daniel Bryan a storyline that keeps him away from the main event. Suffice to say, whether it be they're gun shy because of his recent injury issues, or they just don't want the guy in the main event, he's not in the main event right now. And I would assume he's probably not going to be for most of this year. Sorry to say, folks, we all love Daniel Bryan. I'm a huge Daniel Bryan supporter, but I think he wins the Intercontinental title, has a decent run at least all the way to SummerSlam, keeping this, maybe leading him into a Money in the Bank, which gets him into the title hunt again. Who knows? Next up, we have Rusev versus John Cena. I see Cena winning the U.S. title here. Much like Daniel Bryan is going to be used to, with the two reasons I gave for Bryan, this is the same reasons for Cena. A, bring importance back to the U.S. title. B, keep Cena away from the main event picture for a little bit. Give him something to do other than challenge for the title. I think they're going to push it off as far as they can before Cena ties and eventually breaks Ric Flair's record, because at this point it's almost an inevitability that he will. Maybe he won't, but I think it's inevitable. Next up, we have Sting versus Triple H. I see Stinger winning. I kind of wish they would have built this up in a way that Sting takes control if Hunter loses, but it is what it is. We're getting to see Sting possibly in his only WrestleMania appearance, his first in-ring match in WWE of all things. I think it's about 15 years too late. I really wish he would have came after WCW and not done his TNA run. Not that he didn't have great matches in TNA, not that there wasn't good stuff happening in TNA, but I would have loved to have seen Sting versus Shawn Michaels, Sting versus Undertaker, Sting versus all the greats, Austin, all the way up and down the line. Austin was a different animal from when he faced Sting in WCW. Triple H early on. Mick Foley and Sting was a great feud in WCW. Could have been one great in WWE as well. But I digress. This is just predictions, so we're going to move forward. Next up, we have Bray Wyatt versus The Undertaker. I think Taker loses 2 in a row. I believe something weird will happen. Maybe a Wyatt family reunion, maybe new Wyatt family members. I believe there will be some way that Undertaker is cheated. The other way I could see this going is Taker winning by disqualification. Same reason. Other guys, outside people coming to help. But I think that Bray Wyatt will pull this one out, elevating Bray Wyatt to an even bigger stage, solidify him as a guy that we should be paying attention to. And last but not least, the main event for the WWE Championship. Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. Now, up until SportsCenter a couple days ago, I was heavily leaning towards Reigns, not knowing what Lesnar was doing. The problem is, and I'm going to give credit to Bleacher Report. I don't remember who the actual author of the article was, but it's on BleacherReport.com, so go check it out there if you want to read it. This is where I got the idea put in my head. Roman Reigns is in a weird position here. Basically, he's set up where if he wins, he's going to have a run like Diesel did. If you were old enough to remember Diesel's run, it was something that the fans really didn't care about. And it kind of was during a down period in WWE. As much as Kevin Nash contributed afterwards, and as much as they want to gloss it over and make it look like he was a great dominating champion, he was bad for business. Fans didn't want him to be champion. Fans didn't care about him as champion. Now, if he loses, we have a Lex Luger WrestleMania 10 situation. Again, if you're old enough to remember, Lex Luger was being hyped up to be the next big thing and looked like to be the guy to win the title at WrestleMania 10. Somewhere between Survivor Series and Royal Rumble, they threw a Bret Hart monkey wrench in there. Made it basically 3 men vying for the title. If you remember, they had 2 different matches. It was what it was. So therefore, I guess Reigns is in a lose-lose situation. If he loses, he's the next Lex Luger. If he wins, he's the next Diesel. Either way, I think this is going to stun his growth as a wrestler. It may not kill him altogether. He may be able to recuperate. I hope he does, because I think he's got big things in his future. I just don't think he's quite ready for this stage yet. I do think Brock Lesnar is going to win. I think the new contract, shoring him up for the next 3 years, gives us a little more storyline. There's always a potential of a double turn with Lesnar going face, Reigns going heel. But I think Lesnar wins it. I think the fans go away happy. It's what you do with WrestleMania. Even though Lesnar's a heel, the fans are happier with him winning. So a quick recap. Got Cesaro and Kidd retaining in the tag match. Got Sheamus winning the Battle Royal. Orton beating Rollins. The Bellas beating AJ and Paige. Bryan winning the IC title match. Sting beating Hunter. Bray Wyatt beating Undertaker. Cena beating Rusev. and Lesnar beating Reigns. Basically, that's my opinion on it. Those are my predictions. I'm sure most of them will come wrong. That's the beauty of this. We can look back and see how wrong I was. But anyway, that's all I have to say about that. My name is George Coles, and this has been a WrestleMania prediction show brought to you by Heel Heat.